Can you tell us your name, title, and the organization you're with?
Pete Ballard, Financial Analyst, Chicago Transit Authority.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about what you discussed today, and what are some of the key takeaways that you want us to think about?
Today I talked about 3 transportation revolutions that are happening at the same time. That's autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, and app transit, or transit as a service, which people commonly think of as Uber. And what the future holds for those, what they enable in terms of transportation, and what that means for public transportation and mass transit at the CTA and generally.
So how do you see app transit, autonomous vehicles, and electric vehicles changing how we get around?
For the autonomous vehicles and the app transit combined, we'll see an enormous amount of customization in the vehicles. So you'll not only be able to order up an Uber, but you'll be able to order up an Uber with a workstation in it, or an Uber with a rowing machine in it. You'll be able to do your morning exercises in your car instead of spending time at home. So all this time that you're forced to spend driving your car, maybe an hour there, an hour back, suddenly you have 2 hours of your day out of nowhere that you can spend in however you can imagine. The app transit is going to enable the matching to happen, and those 2 combined might get people to think, maybe I don't need to own a car anymore. Maybe I like being able to order up the type of car I want whenever I want it. We'll see. Electric vehicles are absolutely needed for environmental reasons. If we have more gas cars out there, we're going to cook the planet, cook it faster, and speed up environmental devastation that's going to come with global warming. The even bigger problem there, bigger problem than burning fossil fuels, is running out of fossil fuels to burn. And that day will come. We'd like to push it off as much as possible. So vehicle electrification needs to happen to make transit sustainable. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes along with it, and how electric vehicles interact with autonomous vehicles and app transit is still an open question. We don't know how that is exactly going to play out.
So there's a couple different outcomes that can happen, some good, some not so good. What do we need to be thinking about, and what do we need to be doing to move us towards kind of the best possible outcomes?
We need to match rider with, we need to match demand with rider. We need to match the vehicles with rider. So what that means is we want people to get from A to B. What they should have the freedom to do that. That's the lifeblood of any community, is people being able to get around. What we want to do is fill the seats. So we don't want empty vehicles driving around looking for people, right? And the danger of autonomous vehicles is they can drive around forever empty with almost no cost, clogging up the street. So there's a tragedy that commons of all this technology being great individually, but collectively causing big problems with congestion, big problems with the environment. And that's where public policy comes into play, to try and figure out how to represent the global and community interest as much as individual interest in taking advantage of all these new technologies.
What stakeholders need to work together to help the best outcomes advance? And what do we need to be doing to get those stakeholders together and to get them collaborating, so that way we help guide that outcome, if you will?
So there are some unsung heroes out there in the world, and they're called the regulators. People don't know they exist and what their organizations are called, but they actually do very important work. One of them is the Illinois Commerce Commission, and they regulate all things utilities and electricity and natural gas and have a role of convening that, plus the institutional power along with it to get people to the table. So those anonymous regulatory agencies are probably the best suited to lead this and get the stakeholders to the table. When it comes to transportation, who isn't a stakeholder? Right? Everybody's a stakeholder, and there are a lot of conflicting interests out there. So the people that want the individual outcomes, right, of what's best for me are already well represented out there. So the stakeholders that have a collective view and have a common ground of their community interests beyond just the individual need to be at the table as well. And sometimes, a lot of times they're not.
Okay. Now for a fun question. What is your favorite mode of transportation?
Well, that's a softball because I have to say CTA, right? Don't I have to say CTA?
Of course you do. But you can take off your CTA hat first.
I like to walk. I like to walk. We spend a lot of time on hikes. The family goes on hikes whenever we can. So if I had to pick one, I'd walk. It might take a while to get somewhere, but.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I think that's a very, very valid way to get around, and you're not the first person to tell us that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
you.
It's good to be here.